Girl, you need to be sad for this because fans just linked Nick Cannon to Diddy in the craziest way you can imagine, and the internet is gagged over this. Y'all know how Nick has like 1,000 children with multiple different women? Well, word on the street is that Diddy was allegedly the one who pushed Nick into having all those kids. So does this mean that Diddy and Nick have some sort of breeding fetish? Well, hold on, girl, because it's about to get even worse. It turns out that Nick was at Diddy's parties, and not just those regular parties. I'm talking about those really insane ones where the freaky deaky stuff happened. Girl, it looks like we're about to expose some really weird cult activity here, so let's get into it. If y'all don't know why fans are so weirded out by Nick Cannon, it's because he has 12 kids with 6 different women. 12. Fans started to give him the stink eye after the birth of his last child in 2022 because there is no way on earth he can split his time and attention among 12 kids and 6 different households. When you factor in his very busy career, well, it's not a good look for him. He certainly doesn't look like the great father figure that he tries to convince us that he is. It's unclear how he manages to keep them straight, but hey, one thing that he has always been open about is the fact that he does not believe in monogamy.
Monogamy is healthy. I feel like that gets into the space of selfishness and ownership.
Nick might be holding it down when it comes to money, but like I said, being a hands-on dad is another story. There's only one of him, and with all those kids, folks are wondering how he could possibly be present in all their lives. Some people even believe there's a deeper reason behind why he keeps having more children, like there's a whole side to this situation that hasn't come to light yet. But before we get into the weird and dark details, we need to have a quick rundown of his kids and baby mamas so we know exactly what we're dealing with and we can get a clearer picture of the situation. Nick was married to Mariah Carey from 2008 until 2016. She actually filed for divorce in 2014, but like most legal splits, it took a while to wrap things up. During their marriage, they had twins in 2011, a boy named Moroccan and a girl named Monroe. Not long after the divorce, Nick started a new relationship with Brittany Bell. Clearly, he didn't spend too much time mourning the end of his marriage because by 2017, he and Brittany welcomed their first child, a son named Golden. They later had a daughter in 2020 who they named Powerful Queen, and in November 2022, she gave birth to their third child together, a son named Rise Messiah. Nick also shares twins named Zion and Zillion with Abby De La Rosa, and their family grew again with the birth of their daughter, Beautiful Zeppelin, who was born on November 11, 2022. Then there's Alyssa Scott, the mother of his son Zen, who tragically passed away from brain cancer when he was just a few months old. Nick and Alyssa also welcomed a daughter, Halo Marie, in December 2022. Nick also has a daughter with Bree Tiesi named Legendary Love, who was born in June 2022, and a daughter with a woman named Lanisha Cole, who was born in September 2022. To put into perspective how crazy this situation is, he had 3 kids with 2 different women born in June 2021, including Zen, who unfortunately passed away. In 2022 alone, he had 5 different kids from different women. 2 were even born in the same month, September. This man has 8 kids under the age of 5. Child is given breeding fetish. Given how many kids Nick has, it's no surprise that people have started to question how involved he really is in their day-to-day lives. A lot of folks have been calling him out, saying he's more of a checkbook dad than an actual hands-on parent. While Nick hasn't come out and directly responded to those claims, he does stay active on social media, regularly posting photos with his kids and showing himself in full-on proud dad mode. But according to Bree Tiesi, that picture-perfect dad image might not be the full story. She admitted that she and the other mothers often have to go through Nick's assistant just to reach him. So while he may show up online looking like super dad, behind the scenes it sounds a lot more like scheduling an appointment than co-parenting.
We all can go through the assistant to make sure it's on the calendar if there's something important.
Nick's reaction to this was interesting because he neither confirmed nor denied it, but just talked about how the moment was going to go viral.
I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna go viral. That's
gonna
go viral.
And it did.
It looked like, is Nick available to see his child?
Nick himself has admitted on multiple occasions that all kids were planned and none of them were unexpected. He said, I'm going to take full responsibility. Any woman that I know that I have unprotected intimacy with, there's the potential to have a child. So I feel like if I have unprotected intimacy with anyone I know, because one, I value everything about me so much. If I've gotten to that point where I say I can take off this protection, I'm going to say she could be the mother of my child. He continued, every woman that I have a child with, there is definitely a conversation about, wow, how amazing would this be? I feel like every woman I have a child with are amazing mothers, and there was a thought process going into it like, man, she would be an amazing mother. She's desired children. I can't wait to see what type of mother she would be. So in saying that, I would say that they're all planned. Well, fans soon started to wonder if there was more to the situation than we knew. There were even reports that he had those kids to save his life. Okay, let me explain. For those who don't know, Nick has been struggling with some health conditions like lupus, which has caused him to be hospitalized on several occasions for kidney failure and other related conditions. He spoke about this in a 2017 interview with Howard Stern, where he admitted that he believed that he is going to pass away sooner than most people realize.
I'm probably gonna die sooner than most people, and because that's what the doctor said. But I'm living life like
what did the doctor?
I might die in the morning, so let's all night.
So people believe that he's having multiple children to ensure that in case he needs some sort of transplant, that he can use the help of one of his kids. While this is disturbing, it gets even more concerning because there are also speculations that Nick could be having all those kids for their umbilical cord blood. There is some research that shows stem cells in cord blood show more promise for treating lupus than stem cells in the bone marrow. According to cordbloodbank.com, this is why umbilical cord stem cell treatment for lupus is so exciting. Cord blood cells are less prone to rejection than stem cells from bone marrow, providing more promise to patients who suffer debilitating symptoms of lupus. This is super disturbing, but what does this have to do with Diddy? Well, word on the streets is that this isn't just about him saving himself with the umbilical cord. I mean, the kids are grown and the youngest is almost 3. If you know anything about stem cells, you know that they need to be harvested pretty quickly or they become unusable. So if it's not about the stem cells, what is it about? Well, fans are speculating that it is all some weird breeding fetish that he got roped into by Diddy. This kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like Nick, Diddy has multiple kids with multiple women. He has 7 kids with 4 different women, none of whom he married. His youngest child, Love, was born in December 2022 when Diddy was 53. Now, I don't know about y'all, but most 53-year-olds aren't exactly looking to have more kids and start raising babies, especially when they're not newly married. At that point, the twins were 16 and he was getting close to the end of his parenting journey. But then he popped out of nowhere with a brand new baby with a woman who he wasn't married to. It was weird at the time, and it's certainly weirder now that fans have clocked their alleged breeding fetish. And get this, fans aren't just pulling this out of thin air because Nick himself has admitted to being at Diddy's freakiest parties. Fans recently unearthed an old interview from Nick's show, Council Culture, where he sat down with Iyanla Vanzant and talked about the whole Diddy situation. Now, to his credit, Nick did express sympathy for Cassie and said he was praying for her, but when it came time to actually call out Diddy's behavior, he got really cautious. Instead of speaking out clearly, he tiptoed around the issue and said it was hard for him to say anything negative about Diddy since they're on good terms. Basically, he pulled the "that's my guy" card.
I find difficulty in it when I'm asked about people that I know about. It was either Breakfast Club or Angela Yee or something, and they asked me about Puff, and I answered it as honestly as I knew how to answer it. I know these people, they're not just public figures to me. So I have to almost do this dance about when it comes up, because just as much as I know Diddy, I know Cassie. I think what they brought up is like, I saw that, I kind of was saying I'm praying for Cassie, trying to find the high frequency in knowing the story, knowing the right thing to talk about. I was like, this is someone who was hurt, who was victimized. But then when this question goes a little bit further, like, so what about Puff? It's like, I don't know how to feel about that.
It's no surprise that Nick's comments didn't sit well with a lot of people. Just because you know someone personally doesn't excuse their behavior, and wrong is wrong. That video of Diddy putting pause on Cassie was chilling, and it left no room for doubt. But instead of recognizing that, Nick kept doubling down. He went on to say that it's tough for him to criticize Diddy because Diddy supported him during a difficult time in his life. And if that wasn't already enough to raise eyebrows, Nick admitted that his gut reaction is to defend Diddy, even knowing exactly what he's accused of doing.
When I was going through my stuff, someone that called, checked on me, stood by me, stood up for me, and I was like, what do I owe?
But what does that mean, stood by you, stood up for you?
Well, when no one else would protect me, or
whether it's Puffy or whoever, you want to be their brother first, not their PR agent.
But as a friend and as a brother, I want to defend.
But that's not your job.
It's not my job. So your advice to me is sometimes just say, I'm going to reserve comment.
That is my brother, and I'm going to reserve comment.
So that goes back to what this is all about, healing in the public eye. As our brotherhood, it shouldn't be in the public.
But it looks like Nick is pretty proud of his friendship with Diddy because he doubled down on his claims about attending Diddy's wild parties, talking about how much he loved them.
I've even been at one when I was a kid, like 16, 17, standing outside.
Nick.
Yeah.
This one. Come on.
Yeah, I live my truth. Everybody gets scared to talk because they probably got something to hide. I ain't got nothing to hide.
I don't have nothing to hide.
I was in there Harlem shaking, doing all of that stuff, but it wasn't, come on, whatever. There that we are classifying a good party with a freak off.
I just think it's hilarious. Who was drinking brown dot Ciroc? Let us know. That brown dot Ciroc.
But see, that's the thing. I don't drink. I don't do. So I was like, I don't know all that.
You was in a Diddy party sober?
I'm in my life sober. I've never been drunk in my life.
Yeah, it's not hard to see why fans connected the dots from his creepy freak-off parties to the breeding fetish that he and Diddy seem to have in common. Anywho, drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.